One of the biggest issues brand new TCGs are facing today is gameplay. Getting people to get in and play their games and have access to the games as early as Kickstarters or as early as first and second set releases. And for Nostalgix, that is one of the things that has been worked on and really being clamped down on. And I'm here to tell you that there is an easy and simple way to get playing Nostalgix TCG, even if your local game shop doesn't carry it, doesn't play it, there's no stores near you that play it, there's still an option for you. It's called Tabletop Simulator. It's online via Steam. Let's get into it. Welcome back, players and collectors, to my channel, Ren's Collectibles. If you're new here, I'm Ren, and yes, today we are going to be looking at Tabletop Simulator and all it has to offer in terms of online gameplay. Now, nothing beats having a good old-fashioned client like Pokemon and Magic Arena. You know, Pokemon TCG Live is the new one in Magic Arena, things like that. Some real clients and games to play and win packs and things like that. But it doesn't have to stop there, and it doesn't have to be just those things. For brand new TCGs, Tabletop Simulator is a very good and viable way to get people playing the game and get them into it very early on. And if you're like me, I love playing card games. I love playing Nostalgix, and playing via Tabletop Simulator is a really good option. It kind of lets you get the fundamentals of the game and get the hang of it. So when you do go to your first tournament, or your card shop does start carrying it and has tournaments, you are well prepared and ahead of everybody else. But the best way to really teach you guys and show you all about Tabletop Simulator is to dive into the program itself. But before we can even dive into the program, I got to show you how to get Tabletop Simulator and how to get the Nostalgix add-on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so as you can see on the screen here, we have Steam pulled up, opened up, and ready to go. So when you first log in, it's going to have your library tab up here. That's what's going to be open. You just want to go over here to the store, click on that. It'll bring you to this page here. And then up here in the search bar, this is where you're going to type in Tabletop Simulator. I've already typed it in for you. And right here, the very first option, Tabletop Simulator, it's the orange background one. You're going to go ahead, click on that, and it'll bring you up to the Tabletop Simulator page. Now you can see I've already got it downloaded. It'll have the purchase options and all that here if you haven't already. It also tells me it's already in my Steam library, but this is where you would purchase it for $19.99. And I know that might be, you know, kind of steep for some people, but that's about the third of any other video game you can buy. And there's thousands of trading card games you can get on this. So make sure, if you really want to play online, any TCG too, I mean, we're talking all the new ones, Cryptic, Back Alley Mages, Alpha Clash, I'm trying to think of some of the other ones, they're all on here. So this is your best option, especially for Nostalgix. So go ahead, download it, you click play, and it'll bring up the game itself. And let me go ahead and pull it up. Scratch that, I got a little bit too ahead of myself. You're going to download the Tabletop Simulator, and you're going to try to run it just for the patches. You want to make sure it's all up to date. But once you do that, you want to come over here to the Community Hub. This is where you're going to get your workshops up here in the top tab. You can see you want to click on workshops, and then in the search bar here, this is where you can search for any game you are looking for. For us, we want Nostalgix, so we're going to type in Nostalgix, hit enter, and boom, there it is. You go ahead and click on this, and all you have to do is subscribe. Once you subscribe, it automatically downloads the files necessary to play Nostalgix in Tabletop Simulator. So the only step after here is to run the client again, Tabletop Simulator, and pull the game up. All right, once you have it pulled up, this is what it should look like here for you. And you have two main options. You can join a table if, you know, if whoever you're playing already has a table created. You just want to click join. You type in whatever search term they're going for their server name. If they said 1, 2, 3, 4, you type that in here. You can see there's just a ton of games over here. But if you want to search for something specific, oops, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, well, my keyboard apparently only wants to work on the back half, so there you go. So servers with that in there will pop up. You just click on the game and then enter the game. For us, we're going to go ahead and create a table since we don't have one. You can do multiplayer, single player, whatever the case is. Whenever you go to play a game, you're usually going to do multiplayer unless you want to do it by yourself. So you're going to go ahead and give it a server name. That's what I was just trying to do, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can make it public, friends only, invite, whatever you want to do. If you want to do public, you just got to set a password. Let's go 5678. Just because you can set your max players. Typically leave that at 2. You can put more in here, but the multiplayer has not really been tested for this. So it really only will work for 2 people as of right now. And then you just create the server. So as you can see, it kind of gave us like a generic table out here. Not a lot to it, but it brought up this menu here. And this is where all of your games you download will be located, is in the workshop. Now the classics, the DLC, all that should stay in the, be already preloaded in there, I should say. And to get to the Nostalgix, you just want to click on the workshop here. You're gonna find Nostalgix over here. You can see I've got a couple games on here. I used to play some MetaZoo Online, Cryptic, Crucibles, that kind of thing. But we're going for Nostalgix, so we're gonna go ahead and click it and click load. It'll take a second here. It's auto-generating everything. And there you go. You got a 2-player board here with a nice, beautiful map of Nostrum as the table, which I think is sweet. But you can see, I got my mouse here. We're moving around. If you want to scroll in, use your scroll wheel on your mouse. That zooms in. Scroll backwards and it goes out. You can use WASD to move around. So if you use W, you go forward. You do S, you go backwards. A is left and D is right. So using a combination of these, you can just kind of surf around on here. And the cool thing is you can right click on your mouse. Make sure you right click. If you left click, it's just going to drag a box like that. But if you right click and spin, you can kind of turn and see all the other things over here. So very basic, very simple. You just got to play around with it for a minute to really figure that out. But on here, you can see we have the infinity symbol above whatever the name of the item is you're scrolling over. That means you can grab as many of these as you want. There's an infinite supply of them. It doesn't matter. You can do the same for these ones. You want whatever custom dice, you can throw a couple of those around. So all these are infinite. There's no end to them, which makes it really good for this kind of gameplay here. And same for all your dice. You can pick up a dice, you can roll it, whatever you want to do. You have prize counters, and this is kind of necessary because only one side, what I've noticed, only one side has movable prize counters, the other side doesn't, but we'll show you that in just a second. On here, if you look over on the left hand side, you can see the how to play rulebook. So it's already got every page built in that you can look at if you were needing help. And one little tip I want to give you guys for this is if you look on your keyboard and you click and hold Alt and then scroll over top, it magnifies whatever you want to scroll over. So you can see it doesn't really matter what you scroll over, it's going to magnify it so you can see it in a larger scale. It makes it really easy to play the game, read the rules and all that. Over here, let's scroll in just a little bit more. You can see we have kind of a generator thing. If you're searching for an individual card, you can type it in here and it'll auto-generate. Once we get more sets in here, you'll see options for other sets, but so far it's just base set. If I were to click on that, it would generate one of every single card in the entire set for you right here. That's good for deck building purposes. And then for us learning to play the game, this is what we really want. Starter decks. And it has all 6 starter decks in here. You kind of just pick whatever one you want. I like Divine Ruler. So you go ahead and click on it. You can see it generates the hero card and the 50 card pre-con deck. So pre-con is pre-constructed, so the starter decks are all pre-constructed decks since you didn't have to build them physically yourself, which is very nice, very useful. So what we do is we click and grab, drag that over here to the hero slot, and it kind of slaps into play. If you kind of look on the playmat below the card, you can see like a ghost version of the card. If you see that, that means whenever you let go, it's going to snap to that location. If it doesn't have that, it's going to drop right where you put it. So it makes it a little bit easier. For multiple stacks of cards or an entire deck, you want to click and hold for about a second, and it'll pick the entire deck up. And same thing, we're going to slap it over here on the deck slot. But if you wanted to pick one random card, you got to click and drag away real fast. So click and drag, and you got one single card. So now there's only 49 left in here. You can do it again, you can do it again, however you want to do it. If you want to add them back to the deck, you just kind of drag them right over top, and they'll auto-generate, auto add back to the deck, I guess. The other thing, this is what I was talking about earlier. These on player one side, for some reason, do not move. So that's where these come in to play. Typically, I leave all of these counters over here until I knock out one of my opponent's fighters up here. Then I'll just grab a counter and bring it off to the side. And my goal is to get all 10 counters just off of the side because you can't move these. However, if you're player 2, you can move your counters, so it makes it a little bit easier. Next up is current and maximum manas. These kind of have the same effect as the cards. You can see the little ghost version of the I guess mana meter, whatever these little token things are called. They kind of snap into place, but of course if you didn't want them to, you could just kind of chuck them. You can do whatever you want, but they kind of want to set in place. But that's, you just click and drag. That's how you move those. Very, very easy. For the deck, when you're getting ready to play, you got to shuffle your deck before you do anything. So if you hover over your deck and you click R, you can see the cards kind of move a little bit. That's shuffle. So it only looks like one little card is moving around in there, but it is the entire deck is just automatically shuffling. It's auto-generating cards. You can hit it one time, you can hit it 50 times. You can be like me, just spam the button about a bajillion times. I don't know, I think it's kind of fun. And you're going to get some random cards in here. So if I pull all these cards here, none of these should be, in order, I guess. And the way you can really find out is if you hit F when you're hovering over a card, it'll flip them over. And there you go, we got bunch of random cards right here. So F is to flip. Makes it really nice when you're going to play surprises. But for now, we want to add these cards back to the deck because we want to shuffle the whole deck, and I'll show you. Oops, I don't want to do that. I want to shuffle. So when you're getting ready to play and you're drawing your cards, you draw 6 cards at the start of your turn. If you hover over your deck and just hit on your keyboard the number 6, you will automatically draw 6 cards. And that kind of rule applies for any kind of number. If you hover over it and it's your turn 1, you just want to draw 1 card. If you just hit 1, you draw a single card. If you need 3 cards, you have a card that lets you draw 3 cards, hover over it, click 3, boom, 3 more cards. All right, the cool thing is when cards are in your hand, you are the only one that can see them down here. Your opponent cannot. If I was to look over here, your opponent would have cards over here, but they're all going to look face down like this deck here. They will not be able to see them face up until you get ready to play them. So if you were taking payoff and you were putting it out here, when you're hovering it over like this, they can see the card, and when you drop it, they can see it. Now, if you want to do a surprise like this nope, what you're going to do is you're going to grab it, hit F, and then bring it down here. Because when it's still up here, they aren't able to see the card, and you can just bring it down here real quick without them ever seeing what is on the front. And then when you're ready to go, you just flip it over, say nope, you activate the card, and then you can drag it to your void. One thing that I know if you play Magic the Gathering, you're going to want to do is tap your cards. So there is a way to do that. If you have your fighters and you like to tap, if you look up here on the degrees, you want to set it to 90 degrees just by clicking. It goes to different degrees. And then you want to hover over the card. If you hit Q, the letter Q on your keyboard, it'll rotate counterclockwise. But if you hit E, it will go clockwise. So that's how you tap your card, and you can untap it. So tap, untap, tap, untap. And again, as I've mentioned before, if you want to see your cards, you're trying to figure out what all these cards do because you've never played the game before, You want to see what tutorial level does, and you can't really read it. Again, remember to click and hold the Alt button. I'm on the playmat there. Click and hold the Alt button, and then just go over top of that card, and it brings it up here. Again, only you can read these. Your opponent will not be able to see your hand, so fear not on that aspect. If you do have any kind of questions or help, you can always come up here to the menu. You can go to Help menu, and it kind of gives you a little layout of all the basic commands in the game. And these are just general commands for any game you play on Tabletop Simulator, not specific to just Nostalgix. But this is your cheat sheet here. This is your rule book for cheating on Nostalgix, and that is all you really need to know to get into playing a game. Alright folks, that is all you really need to know and getting started for Tabletop Simulator Nostalgix gameplay. If you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comment section down below. I will do my best to answer every question in as much detail as possible, and if it requires a second video, I will just create a second video. But that is it for Tabletop Simulator. And there you have it, folks. That is Tabletop Simulator with the Nostalgix add-on. And in fact, you can do just about any trading card game, board game, dice game. They have just about everything on Tabletop Simulator, so just make sure you go look if that's what you're wanting. But for my Nostalgix people, my Nostalgix crew, that is how you do it. That is a very basic, simple rundown of how the system operates and how you can play it within Tabletop Simulator. So I hope all of that helped, and if it did, please smash the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. We've got some gameplay videos coming up here pretty soon. I'm going to actually be going into depth on gameplay for Nostalgix TCG to show you guys really how it's done. So stay tuned for that. But that's all we have for today. Hope to see you guys on the virtual card table.